Sure. My name is Nanni. I'm the lead designer at Bosky Productions working on Lawbreakers. So Lawbreakers is a 5-on-5 multiplayer only team-based shooter set in a futuristic world in where the moon has exploded. It's caused a lot of catastrophe, but we're not set on the catastrophe. We're focused on the rebuilding of mankind. They're in a new golden age, but the law is fighting against the breakers for control over the world that they've lost control over. And on top of that, there's a massive focus on gravity. When the moon blew up, it caused all these crazy issues. Mankind has learned how to manipulate it, but because of that, all the fighting that takes place is in zero-G areas, high gravity, low gravity, and it's all under the control of the player. Sure, so there's competition for sure, but I think we stand out on our own when you look at the entire package. The way our classes play, which we call our roles, are very different in terms of any other shooter that's out there. When you combine it with new game modes that are unique to our game, maps that are unique with the gravity anomalies and the new abilities that play with gravity, it's a completely different experience.
So it's more based on tactics instead of respawning again and again.
No, you'll respawn often. You can flip between characters if you'd like to as well, but we kind of think of our characters as capable of every situation, but they're specialized in specific situations. So they aren't, it's not very hard RPS driven, meaning that if you pick the wrong class, you are at complete disadvantage against somebody else. You could still be the hero of the moment. If you walk behind another 3 enemies, you'll have the right weapons. As long as you have the high enough skill to take them on, you'll be able to win the battle. So our modes start with an intuitive layer. So if you look at Overcharge as one of our first modes that we announced, it starts with a one flag CTF understanding, but we add a layer on top of that we want to always focus on drama. Drama is important to us in our game modes. So we've twisted it around to allow for last second interceptions. You can steal the battery from the last moment and score that point for yourself, even though the enemies seem to have been in domination for that whole time. And Turf War also takes that same focus. It starts out with the idea of domination. You've got dominating points, but we inject an elimination style round reset every single time you've captured 3 points. So you have to do this 13 times, and the tempo constantly goes up and down, and people start fighting the longer they start playing towards the center of the map where all the crazy gravity is. So we have 4 characters in the game right now. There's the Titan, who's our bigger character, heavier rocket launcher. He's really good at pushing into enemy bases and causing a lot of havoc. You have our Vanguards, and our Vanguards have a chain gun style on their arm. They fly around the map really fast. They take advantage of that zero-G really well, and they get in and out of situations fast, so they're good flag carriers. Same thing with our Assassin. She's another good flag carrier, but she gets very close and up front to players, uses her swords to swing around the map with their grappling hooks, and at the same time she finishes them off with the swords themselves or a shotgun if she needs a little bit of range. And then finally you have the Enforcer, and the Enforcer is a mid-range character who's capable of dealing good damage from close or long range, but he's actually more range support than anything. He's got the ability to share his time dilation, which increases speed for all of his friends on the map, which not just only make them run faster, but make them reload faster and fire faster as well.
And all of them are placed on the side of the law and on the side of the lawbreakers. How is this managed?
Yeah, so we actually have them on both sides. It's identical in terms of gameplay, but the visuals and the characterizations are completely different. So on one side of the battle, you have Kintaro, who works for the Shura Corporation, and he's part of the Breakers. And then on the other side, you have Axel, and Axel works for Task, and he's part of the Law. So they're different characters, they look different, they sound different, but the gameplay is identical.
So is there any kind of lore behind those characters we get to know?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of lore behind the characters. We still haven't released it yet, but we're writing it currently. But if you look at some of our characters, Chronos, for instance, is a mass murderer who's escaped out of prison. But what he wound up doing was killing Axel's partner. And Axel's now on the hunt for Chronos. So there's ties between various characters one-on-one. At the same time, there's also ties between factions and factions. There's a reason why the moon has blown up, and that'll be in a character we reveal shortly. He has a big role to play in that. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that there's always some sort of reason and a hook behind all of this. And the whole world of Lawbreakers is filled with that lore. So we started with free to play as it was a model we wanted to try out, but we decided not to go right into making supporting the game with a financial model. We wanted to make the game fun first, so we focused on our core loop for a good year. And in the midst of focusing on that core loop, we started figuring out how can we put free to play models into here without breaking the fun and the fairness that we wanted. And it always came back to figuring out how to grind and unlock content that might be seen as pay to win because you can fast track that content. There was a lot of other issues that we wound up having with it, and ultimately we found that it always conflicted against our primary point, which was just let the player have fun, fair experience, no randomness to it at all. And we thought the pay to play one price, get it forever, was the best way to go because this way we don't have to worry about DLC either. I don't have to worry about you buying new roles later on or new maps or new modes. We don't segment our audience. You pay one time, and at this point you play the game, all the gameplays for free for the rest of the product. We're going to look into cosmetics as microtransactions, just more of the visual flair for the characters, but that'll have no gameplay bearing. So that way, if you just want to be competitive and you want to have an equal chance to win the game, there's going to be nothing that'll stop the player from doing that.
What would you suggest to a person who is interested in the game right now?
I would say go to lawbreakers.com, sign up for our alpha. Also follow us on Twitter @lawbreakers and follow the devs. We hand out codes all the time. Whenever there's a new alpha test, which will be really soon, and we just finished our previous alpha test, took a lot of feedback from our audience. We're about to put it back into the game, get some more feedback. And at that point, if you've signed up, we'll hopefully send you a code, and if not, follow us on Twitter.